Do you worry about that?
No, I don't actually. Yeah. It's a very tricky area. I don't understand.
It's a fair enough question.
Yeah, I don't understand, and I feel as a creative person, I want to work more and more on my craft. And it should be like that. I don't want to worry about other things. I, yeah, and I don't want that kind of a thing in me.
I mean,
At least
you're also
now.
talking to two actors who haven't conformed, and so money was not the driving force, if I can speak for you too.
Yeah, please.
Money was not the driving force,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So asking us that
good work
question
has
is
to go
maybe,
out.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it's a good question to ask of us. Maybe we should think more about
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but you know what happens if it's a great story? Like, Trial by Fire is such an important show. And, you know, I want people to see it.
Manorama, actually, nobody even knew was playing. I believe, and we'll never know this because it didn't happen, but had awareness of that film been there, had the producers put in marketing money and distributed it well. At 25 lakhs marketing money and 60 screens, there was only so much that it was business it was going to do. So it's not just about making a movie, it's also about distributing it in the right way. Wo Bihige Pal song, it looked like a love triangle between the three characters, and there's nothing to do with the triangle in that movie.
Yeah.
And it was not even like a song enough. So those who wanted to come for like love and songs came in and said, ye kya hai? And those who didn't want that, wanted something new and different, never walked in. And with the OTT platforms, it's there for perpetuity. So, you know, they can market it before release, but they have to market after release a lot more.
True.
Because now it's gone live. So you see those nuances are different now.
Hey everyone, this is Aditi and you are watching me on News 18 Showsha. Today I have an absolute bundle of talent joining me who are bringing a significant change in content-driven storytelling. Abhay and Rajshri, a huge welcome to News 18 and we are so happy to have you with us.
Thank you for that
Thank you,
welcome.
I watched the first 3 episodes of Trial by Fire and as I mentioned earlier, it's sad to say but again at the same time the story is well shot and it's quite engaging too. I want to know from each of you, when a story of this sensitivity comes to you, as actors there's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders too, you know, to not just portray them but again at the same time be sensitive with your craft. So what's the best way to deal with that pressure?
To be true, what we are doing. To be honest with the craft, to be honest with the material, what we are doing, and be sensitive with everything, because you are shooting in such an environment where everyone is vulnerable and everyone is dealing with some other things. So you have to be sensitive towards yourself and towards others too. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, it boils down to your intentions. So, you know, it starts, of course, with the script and the director.
Yeah.
Because it's the director's medium. So, like, what is his vision in this case? Like, why is he making this? And clearly, he's coming from a space of bringing awareness, letting you know that this has happened and history should not repeat itself.
Yeah.
Inspired by their story, and so is inspired to make their story into a limited episodic. And so that's where he's coming from. And that's obviously, as actors, we're kind of doing the same thing, right? Why are we here? Are we trying to exploit this situation for our own benefit, or are we trying to make this for the larger good? Are we inspired by this, or are we just kind of looking for that breakthrough role for our own purposes? So, you know, your motives matter. And that's where Rajshri comes in, and when she said, we're doing it with honesty, you know, and transparency. So if you're coming from an inspired space, then you can't go wrong.
So what was the kind of preparation that went behind taking up those parts? Because, you know, there's a lot of information on the internet. There's a book written on it. Did you get a chance to meet the families, or what was the kind of preparation?
It's a difficult one to meet the person and ask questions because of the nature of the subject. You know, you can't
very
really...
traumatic.
It's like making them relive their trauma. So it's going to be a hard one to pull through. But, you know, they're also very urban, like us, middle-class urban folk, regular people. So it's not like they speak any differently than her or I do. So, all right, there's no question of some superficial change that I need to make. I can just be a middle-class person, and that makes him relatable to a larger audience, as with her character. So, it's also based on their life. So to avoid them from reliving their trauma, and to also be inspired by their story. The director told us, I'm going to guide you through this. I just want you to play this authentically. And the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, in the script itself had everything actually, and the book, which is the show is based on, also has many aspects. Online was also many things was there, but what we had to find was what happens when you you finish the trial court, when you finish the court sessions, and you go back home. The journey of these two people who has decided to stand up every day and fight for their children, and then the whole system, and then for the whole the country. So I think that's what the main essence, that what happens, that emotional journey of these two people and the whole AVOOT and the whole victims association system. I think that journey is very inspiring, because it's not that easy to stand up every day.
True.
We all break. A lot of times we can't stand up. We can't, face what's happening. We want to move on, or people make you move on with things. Society tells you, कि it's okay, it happens.
हो जाता है.
हो जाता है. मतलब अब जाने दो ना, कहाँ तक लड़ती रहोगी. तो ये तो बातें हमारे घर में ऐसी होती है कि जैसे हाँ ठीक है, कितना लड़ोगी, क्या मतलब तुम्हारी जिंदगी चली जाएगी उसमें. तो ये बातें उन्होंने भी सुनी हैं. पर अगर कोई लड़ाई नहीं, तो लड़ाई मतलब वो होगा ही नहीं ना. फिर ये कैसे आएगा, मतलब when will we get change? Change कैसे आएगा? And that's what these two people has given us way. They paved the path that can stand up. And at least, and because of their journey, there's so much change has already happened. They're still working on it.
True.
But I think they've given us strength to carry on now. We've done our bit. They started the journey to fight for the system for the children, but then the whole thing became for the whole system has to change. Exactly. The whole safety and regulation has to work. So it's a bigger cause. It's a bigger thing. So And
I must agree, the way you guys portrayed Neelam and Shekhar, you brought in so much authenticity that looked like I was just looking at two parents out there and not actors.
Well, nothing can prepare a person for what they went through.
Exactly.
Nothing could really prepare me to face, literally, like go into his shoes and face what he faced.
True.
I was just reminded about how privileged my life is and how easy it is in comparison. Now, we all have trials and tribulations. We all go through ups and downs. And so just the gratefulness for me to not have lived his experience was enough to kind of throw me into his zone,
You mentioned on your Instagram as well, so far this was the most toughest or tough role that you have portrayed because it was tragic for you. So what was the toughest part in exploring Shekhar's character?
Is this I think you've asked the question because you got the answer.
Yeah.
It's just this, is you're being as authentic as you can be, and it would be different if it was a fictitious drama. You can go and get out of it. But here you are, and then you're reminded that this actually happened.
Yeah.
And that was the trauma of it. It, on one level, helped me get into it more easily because I was sensitive to the subject. But on another side, it was harder to get out of it because I was sensitive to the subject.
True. So you were hooked onto it, in a way.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't use hooked as a word, but I was absorbed in it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Rajshri, I love what you do on screen, and your choices of scripts have been very unconventional and they have actually made you stand out. I want to know from you, since you have portrayed very strong female characters with content becoming a priority over the commercial genre, is it a conscious decision to stay away from commercial scripts, or how do you look at it?
Honestly, no, actually. I think I'm fortunate the kind of a work I'm getting is part of the society, the everyday person I'm portraying on screen.
Yeah.
So I can say I'm fortunate that I get those kind of a work. I've hardly done anything. If you have given me work, and I'm glad that Netflix has given me 3 projects.
Yeah.
But not too much of work is done. But whatever is done is I believed in them. These projects are authentic, real, and the people involved in that also passionate about what they are doing. And I think I've got to work with them only. That doesn't mean that I don't want to do commercial work. I definitely want to do commercial work. I definitely want to be part of great scripts. आ जाए तो मतलब मुझे कोई problem नहीं है. I feel as an artist, as an actor, I want to be part of every genre. Like nothing fixed, I have to have this kind of a thing.
Okay.
And I portray person. Like she can be a strong, she'll be vulnerable, she'll be flawed. She's just like you and me, right? Exactly. We are everything. Yeah. But people always call me that, you portray always a strong character.
True.
Which I don't understand because I play just, normal human being, not something. I think when you have a very fiction character which is like, okay, matlab,
yeah.
So then bol sakte hain कि okay, that's how filter is there. But I think I don't have, I'm just as flawed as everyone is. And I'm as complex as everyone is.
On that note, I also wanted to know another thing from you because I loved what you did in Fame Game. And then I think Fame Game was one such project where the commercial audience saw you, they noticed you. And the same thing happened with Sacred Games also. So, today do you feel for an actress, in order to be noticed, is it necessary to be commercially validated?
I don't know actually because there is no end to it. Commercial doesn't have end. And there's tons of things. And you have to decide how you want to carve your path. And there are many ways to carve your path, right? There are areas where they want to they want to have you as are you a followers or are you influencer or these things. It's their journey. This is how they look at content and craft. There are some people like Prashant, who trusted me to be part of Neelam, gave me that opportunity. Even Fame Game, the casting team decided that they gave me an opportunity. The showrunner gave me an opportunity to be Shobha, be Subhadra, or be even Manto's Isma Chukta Hai. Because the creator has to have that eye that, okay, that person can be this or that person can be that also. Looking at Shobha, I was just thinking that how comes Prashant gave me a chance to be Neelam, Or looking at Subhadra, how come even Sri Rav gave me a chance to be Shobha? It's poles apart, look-wise also. And I'll tell you, nobody recognized me with that. And I feel it's a compliment to me. Because
you become that person.
Yeah, because I like to have different looks. Because every woman is different. You dress differently, your hair is different, everything is different. So I feel, if I want to be you, I want to find something somewhere, me, like somewhere in you. So match it, something. I like to experiment. I like to explore.
I would love to see you more on screen because you're
really, please काम दो मुझे. बहुत मुश्किल है काम मिलना. ये ढूंढना पड़ेगा. Back to zero जाना पड़ेगा. But yeah, I really hope, and I'm glad there are people like Prashant and many other amazing directors exist. System thoda saath de, unko bhi thoda support kare. We need good producers. I'm glad Netflix and many other online streaming platforms are supporting such content and such directors and new actors, who doesn't have followers and who doesn't have, any kind of this thing, commercial success and all, and they just believe in the craft.
True.
So I hope change is there. It's slow, but it's there somewhere.
Abhay, in one of our previous conversations, we have mentioned about, being part of relevant stories and taking risks that help you grow as an actor and not worry about the fame, money, or the commercial part of it. So do you think an industry which can be out and out star obsessed has evolved today and has been accepting of this mindset?
It's growing because of technology.
Okay.
So it's grown to a size where there's a lot more people in positions of power. And so you're seeing a little bit more varied individuals and democratization of what stories get made and who gets to make them.
Okay.
So there'll always exist the past, a formula that we've always had, that'll always be, because there's an audience for it.
Yeah.
But because technology has now exposed the audiences to alternatives, and there are people who don't subscribe to the formula but can give you the alternative, they are coming up now. So it's not so much of being accepted as there being an evolution of just technology around us and that enabling not just the filmmakers but the consumers, the audience and the media, because they're all entwined.
Yeah.
If you're not exposed to anything outside of what you've always seen, even as the media, you will judge with that lens.
True.
And someone tries to be different, you will then judge him or her with that lens.
Yeah.
You know, as the filmmakers do too, as the audience does too. So, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, you're right. I get what you're
There's no
saying.
one factor.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that
But there's a growth.
technology
or a
today
progress.
is enabling people like myself, because my debate in the beginning, and I was angry back when I was younger, so I was more of an angry young man. I can understand it better now. But it was always, I don't mind you making what you make, but why can't I make what I want to make? Like, let there be survival, let there be space for both, which is what the OTT platforms are doing today. They'll make the
Exactly.
formula movie, but they'll also make the non-formula movie.
True.
You know, because they have the digital space. And so now I'm a lot calmer, because earlier it was a question of survival.
True.
It's either do this or die.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, I don't have to do this, I can do that, and I don't have to die. You know, that was always my thing. And I know a lot of people from outside the industry spoke vocally about that. I was from inside the industry, but I was speaking that.
You know, as you mentioned that, I was about to ask you, because OTT has given that creative freedom and newfound audience to a lot of different kind of content. So do you think films like the unconventional films that you have done, for example, Manorama, 6 Feet Under or Dave D, do you think they could have gotten a better recognition had they been in the web space?
Dave D got its recognition.
Yeah,
It did well.
exactly, it did. But
So
yeah.
I don't think it would do any better. It would do just as well as it did.
Huh.
Manorama, actually, nobody even knew was playing. I believe, and we'll never know this because it didn't happen, but had awareness of that film been there, had the
True.
producers put in marketing money and distributed it well, at 25 lakhs marketing money and 60 screens, there was only so much that it was business it was going to do. So it's not just about making a movie, it's also about distributing it in the right way. You know, the process doesn't end until you put the product out. So it's not just what you make, but how you make it and how you sell it.
Yeah.
So there is all of that that goes into play. I think those films would have got their audiences, but because there was so much resistance against making them, and there was so much resistance in releasing them, that the audience that was there, and then what they would do is they would package it, because they were so insecure as to what product they have. So they'd package it differently. So for example, Manorama was वो Bihige Pulse song, and it looked like a love triangle between the three characters, and it has nothing to do with the triangle in that movie.
Yeah.
And it was not even like a song enough. So those who wanted to come for like love and songs came in and said, "Ye kya hai?" And those who didn't want that, wanted something new and different, never walked in.
True.
You see, so there's many things that cater to a success of a product. And with the OTT platforms, it's there for perpetuity. So, you know, they can market it before release, but they have to market after release a lot more.
True.
Because now it's gone live. So you see, those nuances are different now.
Yeah. My last question to both of you is, as you guys mentioned about how OTT has brought audiences closer, has also exposed the audience to a lot of different content, do you think it's also challenging to keep up to the audience's demand again at the same time when it comes to stories, numbers and things like that?
Stories, numbers.
I mean, you know, today, pehle the content in OTT used to be about ki let's just make it because the story is great. But today, a lot of other factors are also being considered. For example, the viewership. Even if I make this show, will it actually get the right amount of numbers or not? So as
That's
actors,
the same as theatrical and ticket sales.
Yeah.
तो कोई नई बात नहीं है.
so as actors, do you think ki, you know, it's also a kind of worry?
Do you worry about that?
No, I don't actually. Yeah. It's a very tricky area. I don't understand.
It's a fair enough question.
Yeah, I don't understand, and I feel as a creative person, I want to work more and more on my craft, and it should be like that. I don't want to worry about other things. And I don't want that kind of a thing in me.
I mean,
At least
you're also
now.
talking to two actors who haven't conformed, and so money was not the driving force, if I can speak for you too.
Yeah, please.
Money
yeah.
was not the driving force,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So, asking us that
good work
question
has
is
to go
maybe,
out,
Yeah, maybe
yeah.
it's a good question to ask of us. Maybe we should think more about
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but you know what happens if it's a great story? Like, Trial by Fire is such an important show, and I want people to see it. Even certain independent films which I did, I want people to see it because it's difficult to, if you don't have that kind of a aspect, like star system or maybe, followers and influencers and all that baggage, which gives a numbers.
Yeah.
So it's an algorithm basically, which works like, okay, hit so many hits or so many these things. When you're not part of that, you push yourself, okay, fine, we can, push it. Now how we can talk to more and more people. So
the numbers game is not a difficult game to play. If you have money, you can play it and the right backing.
Yeah.
But it's not a creative game.
True.
And
yeah.
I
she's
know.
more absorbed in the creative game, and one day she'll realize I need to play the other game too, just as I did eventually.
I know.
Because if you
I don't
continue
know.
down this path of creativity,
I really hope I don't have to.
we all have to. No,
Yeah,
no
because
man is an island. It's not disheartening though. I mean, especially now, at least there's a lot wider variety of platforms and people to work with, and also the audience today is far more accepting of different stuff. So even those people who would not have worked on the kind of subjects you and I have worked on are now doing it.
Yeah. But that's the reason you have. It's very important.
Because those also getting numbers.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's very important to have a great team together.
Of course.
Because otherwise it's not a one person's job.
True.
You have to delegate. You have to you have to believe in people that okay, that's your job. It's my job. Like I've done my work. Now your job starts.
Yeah.
So we have to have in one space, one platform where, okay, now I'll take this forward. And then your job, someone else will take it forward.
True.
The chain system has to be there. Or otherwise, how? One person is very difficult.
True.
Yeah. So if you don't have support, it's very difficult. But yeah, you have to raise your voice to start that chain.
But yeah, on that note, I would really want to see you guys more on screen. Because I've been following Abhay since a long time, but you've been very choosy about your projects.
It's difficult to try and stick to, your vision because, and it doesn't always conform, but yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
But we do
Takes a
wish
lot
to
out of
see
you.
you more on screen and especially
Thank
in
you.
films.
Hopefully after this.
So thank you so much guys for doing
Thank
this with
you.
me. I had a great time chatting with you and congratulations, and I would really like to see more such great content driven stories.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.